All right, so I just started our video and I'm just gonna kind of announce it again. Today is day 10. It is Wednesday, June 11th, and today we are looking at the Unit 2 practice quiz. So you've just had some time to look over it and work on some of the questions yourself, see if there was anything you wanted to touch on a little more. But we're just going to go from the beginning of this to the end, and as we go, if there are any questions, confusions, let me know. We'll talk about them. Okay, so the first 4 questions on your quiz, the directions say, state whether each given set of angles could form a triangle. Now, this is angles, not side lengths. If there is a triangle, state which type of triangle, acute, right, or obtuse. So, let me ask you this first. How many degrees is in a triangle? 180. So if I add 3 angles together and they equal 180, would that be a triangle? Yes. If they don't equal 180, what would that mean? Not a triangle. So what we will do for these is add the angles together, so we can kind of write this so we don't confuse it. Add all 3 together.
See, if it was worded like that, we would have got it the first time.
So we're going to add all 3 together. If it's equal to 180, then the answer is yes. It is a triangle. If it is this sign right here I just drew, not equal. So it could be 179, it could be 181. That is not a triangle. So not 180. No. Okay, so here's a little help guide for whenever we do these on our own. So for number 1, I have 23 degrees, 5 degrees, and 151 degrees. So when I add these 3 angles together, what is my total?
176.
176.
I got 179.
You got 179?
Yeah.
Let me double check.
I forgot the 1.
Oh, okay, let me double check. 23
All right.
plus 5 plus 151. Enter. Oh, it is 179.
Yeah.
That's all right. 179.
I added it back.
Okay, so if our total is 179, is this a triangle?
No.
No. Good. The answer is no, not a triangle. Why is this not a triangle?
It's not 180.
Because it's not 180. Good. Now, we want to figure out what type of triangle it is. So, let's remember how we can tell. If we have an acute triangle, remember all 3 angles must be less than 90 degrees. So we can make a note of that. Bless you. Let me get a sticky note for this because I don't want to squeeze it on there. I would recommend writing this on a sticky note. Oh, that isn't sticky. Okay. Let's try this one. So, acute triangle. What makes a triangle acute?
A 90-degree angle.
Not 90.
Less than 90.
Less than 90. All 3 angles are less than 90. So all 3 angles less than 90. Okay, now what makes a triangle a right triangle?
90 degrees.
It will have at least one 90-degree angle. Actually, not at least one, only one. You can't have more than one 90-degree angle, can you? One 90-degree angle. So that means if, as we're looking through the 3 angles given to us, if you see 90 even one time, it's a right triangle. And what would make a triangle obtuse?
More than 90.
More than 90 degrees. So just one angle that is more than 90. One angle more than 90. So this would be a great thing to write on a sticky note and stick on your practice quiz just to remind you.
Yeah, it's in our notes.
Yeah, and it's in your notes, absolutely. So for number 1, let's look at our 3 angles. 23, is that acute, right, or obtuse? Just the 23. The 23 is acute. What about the 5? Acute. But now we have 151. What's that?
More than 90.
That's more than 90. It's obtuse. So it's not an acute triangle because all 3 would have to be less than 90. It's not a right triangle because there's no 90 degrees. So if you said obtuse, you are correct because there is one angle that is more than 90 degrees. So for number 1, no, this is not a triangle, but if it was, it would be obtuse. Perfect. Any questions about number 1? Okay. Let's look at number 2. That's right below. Number 2, is this a triangle, yes or no? It is? So when I add these together, do they equal 180? Oh, let's see, 33 plus 90, oh my gosh, 90 plus 57 equals 180. Okay, so this is a triangle. Yes. We circle yes. What kind of triangle is this? What type? A right triangle. Why is it a right triangle? Because the 90-degree angle. This is a right triangle. Good. That's okay. Hey, that's why we go over it together. Okay, are we ready for number 3? Okay. Is this a triangle?
Yes.
It is? It's not? I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to add them together and double check. 127 plus 41 plus 12 equals 180. Yep, so this is a triangle. Yes. What kind of triangle would it be? What type? Obtuse. Why would it be obtuse? We have an angle more than 90 degrees, 127. So this would be obtuse. Good. Okay, now number 4. What do these 3 angles add up to? Ah, they add up to 179. So, triangle? No, not a triangle. But if it was, what type would it be? I hear a couple different types. Let's see. Are any of these more than 90 or 90?
Less than 90.
They're all less than 90. So this is acute. 62 is less than 90. 57 is less than 90. 60 is less than 90. If all 3 are less than 90, this would be acute. And if it helps to write that explanation, you could even, on this question, you could say all 3 angles less than 90.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
So, I've been looking at, like, say for instance, before it equals 179.
Yep.
That doesn't matter when it comes to finding out what kind of 3 numbers?
Yes, yes. So I'm going to repeat kind of that question you just asked. Amanda was wondering, whenever we figure out if it's a triangle or not, we get that 179 or 180 or whatever the number is. She asked, do we use that to help us decide what type of triangle? We're just using the 3 angles they give us. Okay. Just those 3, because that 179 is just the total. Okay. It's not an angle in the triangle.
And then one more question.
Yes.
Number 1, since I was doing that, I noticed we got the 23 degrees and then 5 degrees and 151.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 2 of them that are acute and then 1 obtuse. Do we use the one with the highest number to decide? So
here's how we can decide. An obtuse triangle will have 1 obtuse angle and 2 acute angles. The only way that you have an acute triangle is if all 3 are acute. Okay. If you have even just 1 angle that's not acute, the triangle takes the name of the different angle.
So then it automatically be obtuse?
Yes, exactly. So if you have even just 1 that's more than 90, it's obtuse. Okay. If you have even 1 that's exactly 90, it's right. If you have all less, it's acute. Gotcha. No, great questions. Very good questions. Any other questions about these? Because we talked about these concepts, but I never give you any problems exactly like this. So, a little bit, but you guys know this actually.
The way that word that, the highest number is the number that you use for your type of.
Yeah, basically. So kind of like where you would compare the side length, the highest side length, to name your to name what type of triangle, you can just look at the highest angle degree. So like 23.5 up, 151 is the biggest, the highest angle. And it's more than 90, it's obtuse. My highest angle here is 90. It's right. My highest number here is 127. It's obtuse. My highest number here is 62. That's less than 90. It's acute. So that's a really good way to look at it. I never thought of it that way. Okay. Any other comments, questions about 1 through 4? Everybody got those? Any questions at all? Okay, let's look at number 5. This one looks scary, but it's really not, I promise. It's actually going to be an easy one for you, and I'll tell you why. So we're going to use the information that we know about triangles. We know, based on the first 4 questions we did, that to be a triangle, the 3 angles add up to 180 degrees. So we're going to have to look at this picture and decide, what can I solve for first? If I'm looking at angle A, I'm right here. I don't have enough information to solve for A yet, do I? No. So then we could look at B. I definitely don't have anything that's going to help me solve for B, right? So then we look at C. Angle C is the 3rd angle in a triangle that already has 2 other angles. Could I solve for C? Mm-hmm. I could. How could I do that? Yes, we can add these 2 together, or we could add all 3 together, and we know that they equal 180 degrees. So let's set up an equation, and let's see. So I know C plus these 2 are going to add up to 180. So let's just start with that. I'm going to write C plus 31 plus 48 equals, and those 3 equal 180. And then I'm going to put an arc here just to help me remember that this is what I'm solving for currently. So now I have an equation. What would I do to solve this equation?
Yeah, 31 and 48.
Yep, we can combine our like terms, add 31 plus 48.
79
Yes, 79.
equals 180.
Yep, so we have C plus 79 equals 180.
Now you subtract 79 from 180.
Perfect. And now we will subtract 79 from 180. And we get, let's see, you said 101. That is correct. We will get C equals 101. So we just solved for one of our angles. I'm going to find C over here. Now this M means the measure of angle C. Don't let that confuse you too much. The measure of angle C. And we just solved for that, and it is 101 degrees. Something else that's really helpful when you're doing something like this is once you have an angle solved, I like to go ahead and write that angle on my picture as well, just so that I know I've solved for it already. So we have angle C. Because we have angle C solved, are there any other angles that we know right away? B. Or did you say D?
B.
Absolutely. B. How is B related to C?
They're equal.
They're equal. You guys remember what this is called? Vertical angles. When angles are right across from each other, they are equal. So, B equals C, and C equals 101. So what's the measure of angle B? 101. They are the same. So I can fill that in over here. Angle B is 101 degrees. Okay.
To solve for E, you would do 48 and 44, right?
Let's see. To solve for which one you said?
44. Oh, 44 and 101 to solve for A.
Yes. Yes. So now we could solve for angle A because I have 44, 101, and a missing angle. So let's solve for A. What equation could I write?
44. C, A plus 44 plus 101 equals 80. 180.
180. Good. Okay, so I just added these three angles together and set them equal to 180.
45 minus 180.
Okay, let's see. Yep. 44 plus 101 gives us 145. So I'm going to bring that down. A plus 145 equals 180.
Minus 145 from each side.
Perfect. Minus 145 from each side.
Dropped out to 145, so A plus equals 35.
Do we need the plus anymore?
A equals 35.
Yeah. A equals 180 minus 145 is 35. Okay. So we found A. Let's fill that blank in. 35 degrees. And I like to draw it on my picture too. 35 degrees. Okay, so we have two left to solve for. D and E. Now this one might look tricky, but I promise it's not once you realize what's happening here. Does anybody know how we could do this, Shayna?
Would we, because with B and E, they're on the same line, so do we subtract 180 from 101?
Yes, 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 yes. So, I love that. Shayna said B and E, or you could even do D and C or B and D, any of them that are right next to each other. Notice, and I'm going to use a different color here. Notice how these two angles, B and E, form a straight line. They make 180 degrees. So if I add angle B, which is 101, plus angle E, it equals 180. So we'll end up doing 180 minus 101. But here's what we'll do. I'm going to write 101 plus E equals 180. Okay. Now, before we go on solving this, is anyone unsure how we got this equation?
I follow the same thing, but I did D plus 101 equals 180.
And you can 100% do that too, because these will be equal to each other anyway. Okay, so what do I do next?
Subtract 101.
Subtract 101,
You get 79 degrees.
and you get 79 degrees. So E,
And that makes D and E 79 degrees.
perfect. So we solved for E here and got 79 degrees. And then E and D, how are they related? They're equal. What kind of angles are those? Vertical. They're right across from each other. So they are equal. So E is 79 degrees, and so is D. So you're really only solving for 3 angles here. You'll just need to recognize that 2 of them are equal to each other. Just like this. Okay, do we have any questions about number 5? I'm going to leave this one up for just a minute in case anyone is still copying it down. Good, good, I'm glad. Okay. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go to page 2. Okay, I see a few of us still working. I'll wait just a few minutes. Let me pause this and give us a second to get caught up. Go ahead to page 2, and we are now looking to see whether each given set of side lengths could form a triangle. So, who can raise their hand and tell me, how can I tell if 3 sides make a triangle? Shayna, did you? Like, what's our process?
Well, this is the one where you add the 2 together, and if they have
Yes.
to be more than the highest number.
Yes. Okay. So, just like Shayna said, we are going to look at the 3 numbers, and the first thing I would recommend doing is circle the biggest number. So for number 6, I have 12, 31, and 24. Which number is the biggest? 31. So circle the biggest number. And what will I do with my other 2 numbers? We're going to add them together. So I'm going to write this over to the side. Go ahead, Arthur. What? Yeah. So over to the side, 12 plus 24 equals 36. And now we need to ask ourselves, is 36 greater than 31? Yes, it is. So it's a triangle. Very nice. And if it helps to have some direction on this one, we can write a little direction at the top like we did on the first page. I'm going to write up here, circle the biggest number.
Yeah, see, if they had that same rule whenever you wrote this out, but see, we did what we're doing now on the first page.
Yeah, super similar to it
Yeah.
anyway. So if that helps you on the first page to also circle the biggest angle, do it. Do it. Do whatever helps. So
But it
we're
came out wrong instead of us adding them all together. We have to all of us change our answers.
but it's all right. We got it now, I think. So we're going to circle the biggest number, and then we are going to add the other two numbers. We could say if the other two numbers are bigger than the circled number, how could we write that without taking up the whole page? Like a guided.
Draw your little bar with the add right there. You guys just draw out the example, please.
Yeah, so maybe like, I don't know, number plus number. If it's greater than the circled number, does that make sense? Then yes, it's a triangle. Let me see what you did. Okay, so maybe even just having this at the practice quiz itself will end up being kind of like our guide. So I'm going to say those numbers, if it's greater, yes, it's a triangle. No would be if when you add them together, you get less than or equal to the circled number.
Yeah.
So there's a little something to double check.
So if the number, wait.
Here, think of your question. Shayna's got her hand up. Yes.
A good note to add, just so people don't get confused, I think when it's like the links, just put a little, like I put at the top of mine, links, add the two smaller ones to the longest link, and then with
Yes.
the angles, add to equal 180.
Yes. Okay, so like for, let's see, what exactly
So,
like
okay,
is the
so,
note
like
you
with
wrote?
The front page, like what Titania was talking about, I even did the same thing. I got confused with it being the angles because I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Circled the biggest number and then added the little ones.
Right.
But no, so with the angles, add to equal 180. With
Yes.
the links, add this side.
Okay, add the two. So basically, kind of like this note we wrote here, add all three together to equal 180 for yes, not equal 180 is no. And then over here,
Yeah.
maybe I need to highlight add the two numbers, and it's not 180. We're comparing to the circled number. Okay. I appreciate that. Okay, number 7, 48, 49, and 50. What is my biggest side length? 50. So, we're going to add these two together. What is 48 plus 49? 97?
Yep.
Okay, let me get my sheet here. 97. Okay, and then we're asking ourselves, is 97 greater than 50? Yes, it is. So this is a triangle. Okay. Let's look at number 8. 27, 65, 21. Which side length is the biggest? 65. So we'll circle that. And what should I do with the other two sides?
Add 27, 21 is going to be 48.
Good. Add 27 plus 21, and that equals 48. Okay, so now we go to that next step. Is 48 greater than 65? No, it is smaller. So this is our first no. This is not a triangle. 48 is less than 65. Okay, and now we have one more.
That's easy.
30, 20, 50. Which one's biggest? 50. So let's circle 50.
Let's make it 50.
And we're adding 20 and 30.
50, 50.
So, alright, 30 plus 20 equals 50. And the question again is 50 greater than 50? No. It's equal. It is equal. So if I have those 30 and 20 trying to make an angle with a 50 line, it's just going to make a straight line. It'll collapse on itself. This is not a triangle. No. Okay. That was 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're just adding the two smaller sides. If it's bigger than the biggest side, it is a triangle. If it is equal or less, it is not a triangle. Okay. Are we okay on those? Or do we have any questions or confusions? Any at all? Is there anything that we could do to make this feel easier? Does anybody have like a trick they use or anything like that? I'm just sensing stress. I'm sensing stress.
And it's due to a lot of numbers.
Just a lot of numbers. It is a lot of numbers. It's a lot. But you will have this practice quiz, so as long as you are taking your time and writing really detailed notes on your practice quiz, when you take your quiz, I mean seriously, go and compare every number and be careful as you fill it out. Look at how you did each problem on the practice quiz. If you have this and you use it right, you can do very, very well if you've got good notes on here. And if anybody is not sure how to use this to help you on a different problem, I'm happy to demonstrate that too, if that would be helpful. You know, you guys just let me know what helps, and I want to do that. Are we ready for number 10? Or do we want to talk about these anymore? No, yes. Okay. Let's look at number 10. Okay, we have a right triangle. Two right triangles. And we're going to solve for a missing side length. Now, I went ahead and told you that we're solving for C on number 10. And 11, we're solving for B. What formula are we using here?
I have a question.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Sure.
Okay, are we using the C square on this one, or are we using the what's the name on that?
We're using the Pythagorean theorem for this one. I will tell you if it's a special right triangle.
Okay.
So we are going to write the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared.
Can you put that on our test so we know exactly what we're using for each problem, so that we don't?
You're putting it on your practice quiz.
Okay.
Yep, and then it will, your quiz will be identical to this.
Okay.
So that way when you look at your practice quiz and you're taking your quiz, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's how you do it.
Okay.
So write this down. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we're using this for number 10 and 11. So if I want to solve for C on number 10, who can, by raising your hand, tell me what equation will I write, Amanda?
You're gonna write, I wrote 12 squared plus 11 squared equals C squared.
That is correct. 12 squared plus 11 squared equals C squared. Could you do 11 squared plus 12 squared instead?
What about our 90?
You could. What'd you say?
What about our 90 degree angle?
So we are not too worried about the angles right now. We are solving for side length. The 90-degree angle just tells us that we can use this a squared plus b squared equals c squared because that only works for right triangles. All right. Okay, so I have an equation written. What would I do next? Go ahead.
You want her?
You had your hand up. Titania, go ahead. What do I do next?
Take 12 times 12,
Okay.
you'll get 144.
12 times 12 is 144.
And then 11 times 11,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna get 121
Good. 121
equals c squared.
equals c squared. So remember, when you square a number, you're just multiplying it by itself. So I wrote that out in case it's helpful to you. So what would we do next? Shayna?
Oh, sorry,
That's okay, go ahead.
it's gonna be 265.
Perfect, so we're adding these together, good. And we get 265 equals c squared. And then what? Square root. Okay, and we'll make sure that everybody remembers how to do that on your calculator. We are gonna do the second.
Can you tell us to find out the square root of the question?
What'd you say?
Can you tell us to figure out the square root of the question?
You can write a note on here. Use your square root at the end. Find the square root. You can write anything you want on this and you'll have it to use. So second square root, oh dang it, hang on. Second square root 265. Enter. 16 point, I would accept 27. I would also accept 28 if you round up. 16.27 or 28. 28 would be the rounded answer. So I'm going to write C. That is 16.28. Bless you. And if it will help you remember, write a note. Big star. Square root. Don't forget it. Square root. Yes.
Using the value.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So that is number 10. Everybody got that one, or do we have any questions? Okay. Now let's look at number 11. Now number 11, we're trying to solve for B, not C. So we're going to set this up a little bit differently. Remember, we're using, and I'm just going to rewrite that formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Which number would be A? 19. Yes. Remember, A and B are the legs of the triangle. A and B are the two lines that make up the 90-degree angle. So I'm going to write A next to 19. And we'll plug that in. So I have 19 squared plus, do we know B? No. So we're not going to put a number for B. We need to write plus B squared equals, what's C? 27. 27. We already have C right here. So I'm going to write 27 squared. So now we're solving for B. So we're going to start this the exact same way as we would on number 10. We want to square the two numbers that were given to us. So, go ahead. Yes.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter, because remember when we practiced last time, we couldn't go to the other side, so now that doesn't concern us, right?
So the main rule is that C is always that longest side across from 90. Normally we're solving for C, and it doesn't matter which one's A or B. But this time, we don't know B.
Right.
So it does matter. Okay. So 19 squared, what does that mean? 19 times 19. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing with 27. Okay, 19 squared. 361 for 19 squared. Plus, good, B squared equals 27 squared. Did I hear 729? Perfect, 729. Okay, so here we are. Uh-huh, you do. So this is the only thing that's different. Instead of now combining like terms by adding on the same side, now you're trying to get B by itself. So exactly what you said, Arthur, we're going to subtract 361 from both sides. Okay, see, you guys know how to do this. Minus 361 minus 361. Okay, those will cancel. 368, that's right. So I want to bring everything down. B squared equals 368. Okay, now wait just a second to get everybody caught up. You only have one more step though, just one. How do you get rid of squared? Square root. Square root, square root. Once you get to B squared or C squared, the way to get that letter by itself is to do the square root at this step.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so write it big on there again if you need to. Square, bless you, root. Titania, if you need to see this again later, I can let you peek at it. No, that's okay. You do what you got to do. Okay, so square root again. So I'm going to do that on both sides. And what is the square root of 368? 19, did you say 0.18? 0.2. Oh, yes, if you round it up. Perfect. So the square root of 368 is, you can either go with 19.18, or if you just wanted one decimal, you could round that up to 0.2. I'm not going to be super picky on it. And that's B. Okay. Okay. Guys, we're almost done. You've got 2 more questions. 2 more. It does feel like a lot though. I don't want to downplay it. This is not easy stuff. It's very difficult. Yes. Yes. Now I'm going to give you guys probably longer than until Friday for corrections on this, just because normally I like to give you a quiz by Tuesday, and some of you might not even take it until tomorrow, which is Thursday. So if you decide to take it tomorrow, that's not fair to only give you a day to make corrections. So I will probably extend this to the end of maybe even next week, but I'll keep you guys in the loop on that.
Will this be our last quiz?
We might have one more small one after this, but I promise, I know I keep promising things, but I really do think triangles is probably the hardest unit in geometry. I feel like it gets a little easier from here, because next unit we're looking at area, perimeter, squares, rectangles, stuff that's a little more simple that you're more used to seeing.
Cylinders.
Yeah. Now, we don't even get to the 3D stuff. We just don't have time. That would be a little tricky. If you're interested, I'm happy to show you just for fun, but I'll keep you in the loop. This is the hardest unit to get over in geometry. So once you're done with this, it will feel easier, promise. Okay, are we ready for the last page? Or does anyone still need to see this? We can wait. We good? Yes, no? Yes, no? Okay, guys. Oh. Well, let's do it. Here is your last page. 2 questions. Now, I'm going to pull out the notes that we took yesterday, because those will be very helpful. And if at the end of class anybody, needs to see copies of my notes or anything, just let me know. But first, let's look at number 12. We have a special right triangle. We have a 45, 45, 90. That's a 45, 45, 90. So the first thing you should do on your practice quiz is label your x, x, and x radical 2. Go ahead and do that, because you don't want to memorize that. You want to have it ready. Okay, don't try to memorize it. I mean, you can if you want. It's just not worth it to make a silly mistake. Just label your picture. X, x, and x radical 2.
And the other one's 3, right?
Yes, but we're going to start with just this one. And on your quiz, I'm going to change this before I make copies of it, because the way I taught you was A, B, C, and this is written different, and that's confusing. So I am going to have you change it on your practice quiz, and on your actual quiz, it will be different. So X out your B and C. I want to make it match the way I taught you. Because it's going to get confusing if not. B, C. Actually, guys, hang on. I've got a few bottles of whiteout I can pass around if y'all want some.
You don't want us to add our arrows?
Add our arrows. Say that again.
You don't want us to add our arrows?
What arrows?
It's what you did on your notes yesterday.
Oh, you don't have to put arrows in. If it's something that helps you, go right ahead. I just put the arrows in our notes to show that x radical 2 is across from 90. X is across from 45. X is across from 45. If that's something that helps you, you can add it in, but you don't have to. Okay, so for number 12, I know that A to B is 45 whatever. I didn't give you units. It's 45. If it helps, you could write inches or something. What is also AB according to our picture? X. A to B is X. So 45 equals X. What else do we know? B to C is also X. So if AB and BC are both x, what do we know about the lengths of BC now?
That's 45.
It's also 45. They're both x, and if x is 45, then they're both 45. Okay? So, how would I find CA or AC?
Is this where you're
That's a
gonna
90-degree angle. isn't
Go
it?
ahead, Amanda.
x radical 2 equals 45 and then divide it?
So we do that when we're solving for x. But do we know what x is yet? We do know what x is. X is 45. So if we already know what x is, we're going to use that instead of x.
So it would be 45 radical 2.
Yes, yes. If you know what x is, you're going to plug it in. And we know what x is. X equals 45. So I'm going to take x radical 2. And instead of x, 45 radical 2. And if it helps as well, we could write next to CA or AC that x radical 2. So now we're doing 45 radical 2. Yes?
I got 63.63.
63.63? Let me see. I got a slightly
I might have did it different.
different. Nope, never mind. I just have a different, my quiz is different than yours because I'm looking at my old answer key. My answer's going to change. You might be right. Let me double check. 45 radical, that's the second x squared, 2. 63.63 or 0.64. Is that what you said you got?
I got 63.63. I didn't round it up.
Perfect.
That's
That is perfect. So that means this is 63 point, you can say 63 or 64. There we go, 63.64. Now that's not x, that's x radical 2. Remember we found x was 45.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we plugged x in and we got 63.64. Okay. Now do we have any questions about number 12? Any questions at all before 13? Okay, so for number 13, now we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So we have different side measures. We want to start by labeling this. Again, don't make yourself memorize this. Write it on your paper. Let me get where'd my blue pen go? There it is. Okay, so the bottom shortest side, E to F, that's our X. The longest side, D to F, 2X. And our other side, D to E, that is X radical 3. Okay, so we have that. And let's go ahead and label our lengths down here with the X values that we know. So from D to E, what x value did we write? X radical 3. DE x radical 3. From E to F, what is that?
Oh.
X. Good. And from F to D, what is that? 2x.
Because they're not 45s.
Yeah, now it's different. Now it's a 30, 60, 90. So I know FD is 2x. I also know FD is 68. So 68 should be 2x. Oh, so it's like the equation kind of wrote itself. So what should I do here?
Divide 2x from 68.
Yeah, we're trying to solve for x now. I have 68 equals 2x. So all we need to do is divide by 2. And that should give us x, right? Okay, so divide by 2. And that gives us x equals 34. So now that I know x is 34, what else do I know?
That x 34 radical 3.
We could use that x for DE. We could 34 radical 3. Instead of x radical 3.
And then D and F is 34.
Okay, so let's see. We're doing DE right here. And let me label my work. We're solving for DE. X radical 3 is DE. So instead of x, I used 34 radical 3. So I'll type that in. 34 radical 3. I got 58.889726.
I hit 9 instead of 3, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that'll change your answer a little bit.
Alright, so yeah, we're right.
Good. So 34 radical 3 should be 58.89 is what I'm going to round it to. Okay.
DE is
Okay, does everybody see where we got DE? And I'm going to write that, 58.89. And what else do we know? Yeah?
that E and F is 34.
EF is 34 because X is 34 and EF is X. So we can just put that in here. 34. Okay. That's it. That's your quiz. Okay. 13 questions. That's all that's being graded. Don't let yourself get too worked up or freaked out about this. Please think of a quiz in here as like a worksheet, okay? Because it's not like when you turn it in, your work is permanent. If you make mistakes, I'm going to give you guys lots of time to make corrections. And it's going to be all right, okay? It'll be okay. I'm not going to let something like this destroy somebody's grade. I've seen all of you do incredibly in here. And, you know, just to reassure you, I base your grade much more off of your exit tickets than a quiz. I know this is a lot, and it is fast. This term is a little different. But you guys are doing really good. You are, okay? Do we have any questions on 12 or 13? Any at all? Okay. Can I move this? I'll explain the bonus really quickly to you. So bonus is something I've never shown you before, as it normally is. So the question here says, are the two triangles congruent? Does anybody know what congruent means? The same, equal. Congruent, this just means that, are they the same? Basically, they have the same side lengths, the same angle measures, everything must be the same. That's what congruent means. Now it says, if so, what type of congruence do they have? And I'm going to tell you the types. And then it says, label all congruent sides and angles. So, here's how we do this. I have given some sides that are congruent to each other. Here's a new symbol. This means congruent. Equal with a squiggly. That means congruent. It means that they're the same. So I have told you that AC, right here, is congruent to DC, right here. So to show that they are the same, we show it with tick marks. One tick mark on each one means they're the same. So whatever is given, we mark that. Next, I have BC, right here, is congruent to EC, right here. So to show that those are the same, we can do tick marks again, but instead of one tick mark, we'll go up to the next number, 2 tick marks. Okay?
And the outer side would be 3, right?
Now, we don't know that these are the same because it's not given to us. We don't know anything about these sides yet. Here's where geometry can be tricky, yes, and kind of theoretical. We use a lot of kind of theories and like the laws and I don't know, all of that stuff. But we're going to actually think about angles here. Are there any angles in these two triangles that we know for sure are congruent, are the same? Yeah?
A and E and B and D.
A and E, B and D, they could be. They could be the same,
Yeah.
but we don't know that. Now, I didn't label my angles super well. I just labeled like the points. But does anybody recognize any angles can we describe that might be equal? A and B might be equal. We don't have enough information for that. We don't know that. They look equal, but we don't know.
B and D, because they're on the 180 degree angle.
Look in the middle.
C.
C. I'm going to tell you. This angle here is equal to this angle. What kind of angles are those? If they're right across from each other? Vertical. They're vertical angles. Anytime angles are right across, they're equal. So, these are equal. These are equal. And now we know. This could go into like a whole lesson, guys. Proving congruence is like a year-long lesson. It is so difficult. So we're not going to get too into it, but the type of congruence we would say that this triangle has, these two triangles, is that they have a side, an angle in the middle, and another side, okay? Because there's a side, an angle, and a side, they got real creative when they named it. It's called side angle side congruence. Side angle side. Right. And we can abbreviate that as SAS. Yeah. I mean, so there really is a lot of different ones, all using A's and S's. If you're curious, I can show you, let's see. Let me find it. Where is, I wanted to show you something. I don't know where it went though. Maybe it's over here. Hang on. Okay, so these are some other types of congruence that you might see if you're curious. So I'm going to flip my page to the back and just show it to you. And I can go back to that in a minute. So if you had, for example, two triangles like this where they share a side, and we know that that is equal, both of those sides are equal because they are lined up, and then maybe you were told that those are equal, 1, 2, 3, and these are equal. This would be side, side, side congruence, SSS, because it's only sides. Okay, so I'm going to write side, 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 SSS. So that's a type of congruence. There's also, it could be, I mean, it just really depends on what is given. It doesn't matter exactly how you draw it. There's another example of maybe we know the angle is the same, then the side is the same, and then this angle is the same.
And your top angle the same too?
It could be, but let's say we just have this. I mean, we could also add that. Usually you're going to be given 3 things so that you can have 3 letters.
Okay.
So based on knowing you're only going to use the words angle or side,
It's gonna be side by side.
what kind would this be?
And then side by side by side?
Well, let's see. I have an angle labeled,
Same.
a side labeled, and an angle labeled.
Side, angle, side, angle.
Angle, side, angle. See? Angle, side, angle.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we're literally just looking at the picture. Angle, side, angle.
Okay, leave that out of our assignment, because we don't need that.
No, don't worry, I'm skipping over this whole section. That's why it's bonus. We are not going to learn this. We do not have time. And you'll never use it, ever.
Right.
So it's,
Unless
yeah.
you build something.
Yeah, I guess. But even then, will you? I don't know. Here's everybody's favorite one. Let's see. I'm going to draw another one. What if you knew angle? Angle, side, side. What?
Angle side to side.
Yeah. They banned this one when I was in high school. Ass. Yeah, that's everybody's favorite. So, yeah, that's a triangle congruence. We're not going to cover this though at all. Just I'm showing it to you right now, and that's all you're going to get. And it's bonus, so you know, not a bad idea to try it, but
Terrible.
let me take a peek at your quiz and see if there's anything I missed telling you. Let me see. Where is that thing?
Well, we get another class out of school, so.
Oh. Well, I'll look at it here in a second because I can't. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, you have what you need for the quiz. You do. So this is more just for your information. You do not need to write it down. Trust me, you don't. As long as you have this written down, you're going to get it. Okay? You're going to get it. So, that's the practice quiz. And I'm going to make some copies of the quiz. If any of you want to give it a go today, you are more than welcome to after I make the copies. But tomorrow, during the first half of class, I will give you time to either take the quiz or to finish the quiz if you're wanting to start today. And then we'll kind of see how far we get with that tomorrow. But this is the only instruction I plan on giving you today, is this practice quiz. And while I go make copies of the quiz, feel free to go through this practice quiz again, maybe circle questions that you want more help on. And when I get back, we can run through more examples and just make sure everybody feels good about it. Yes, Shayna? Yes, yes, absolutely. I can make some copies. Okay. Yes, yes, absolutely.